Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Funnies Review. I'm Desmond Gillick, and this is the Sunday Funnies Review. It is the week of May 17th, 2020. Now, into this week's Peanuts rerun. It's a pretty alright comic. You got Charlie Brown saying it's dinner time, he takes it in, and then he goes out for the tip, and then it's like, I'm not gonna tip you for bringing in your own dish, you know? And it's nice. The eye catch kind of explains the basic premise of the joke that he's like hotel waitstaff, yada yada. I like it. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Up next is the Zits, a timeless classic, and it's a pretty alright joke. It's tag nagging me, but instead of saying like tag each time, it says slap each time. It's just do this, do this, do this, but he's a teenager, so he doesn't, and he's on the phone, probably with one of his bandmates. You would know he's in a band if you were a real one. Up next is this week's Foxtrot, and even for being creased, it's kind of funny this week. It's nice. It ends on the punchline of, my eyes are clamped shut because the father is naked because it's quarantine, funny, haha. It's not bad. Not bad at all, in my opinion. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Up next is this week's Better or For Worse, and I'm quite impressed by this week's Better or For Worse. Mainly because it's something I can relate to, you know? It's like a concert at a middle school setting, maybe even high school, and it's like, whoa, look at that, I'm gonna have to stand up to get my daughter's attention, and it's very cool. Because you find your parents instantly if you're doing a concert. If you know, really. Up next is this week's Garfield. It's not good. It's just a Looney Tunes joke. It's duck season, rabbit season. If you don't know, essentially, John says one thing, Liz says thing two. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, fucking hell. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, okay. And then he's like, burr, 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 burr. But then Garfield does take the L. So it redeems it. And I'll give it a solid 5 out of 10. One moment. So what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied during quarantine, you know? Good. I'm glad to hear you got something. They just added Avatar: The Last Airbender to Netflix. Yeah. Never thought Nickelodeon would do it, but here we are, That was all settled before the funny quarantine happened. Up next is the BC of the week, and it's all right. It's do you think we'll ever get to the stars? Yeah, well, we've been trying to get two logs to go in the same direction because it's the BC. And, it's not bad, but it's just flatline, so 6.5 out of 10 for this week's BC. Up next, the Hagar the Horrible. It's not great. It's not great because dog need to go bark, and then he bark more, and then he's like, okay, let's go on a walk. And then they go on a walk, meet a new dog, funny R34, and then it's like, haha, but he's a heartbreaker. It's not amazing. It's the Hagar the Horrible. It's not horrible. It's not terrible. It's just Hagar the subpar this week. And so, Hagar, the 5 on this week's Sunday Funnies. Up next is The Wizard of Id, and, what can I say? It's just not great. He addresses the nation, yada 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 yada. I'm starting a new world war, yada yada yada. And they're like, what? OMG. And then he's like, actually, lol W, that was a little switcheroo to make sure they was still listening, yeah? Not great. Not great. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Speaking of a 6 out of 10, it's the Mother Goose and Grimm of the week. And it's not a great Mother Goose and Grimm this week. It's just a Mother Goose and, 6 out of 10. Up next is the Doonesbury, which is overtly political. 4 out of 10 for this Sunday Funny Doonesbury comic. Now on to the Family Circus. One moment for me to just align this properly. Man. And well, it's the Family Circus, and it's nice. The dad's mowing the lawn. I don't know if you can tell, but I mowed the lawn today. I'm looking red on the forearms now, and I'm feeling tired just like he is. And then the son comes up and he's like, "Can we go play now?" It's pretty good, pretty wholesome. It gets the Wholesome Award of the Week, obviously, and it gets a 7.5 out of 10. It's the shoe of the week, and it's not great. George Costanza this week does a little like, "Hey, what's your biggest fear these days?" And then it's like, "Oh, that's easy. It's clowns. Ever since they started being elected to office." And it's overtly political. It's just not great. It's the shoe of the week. It's a 5 out of 10, but I'll give it a 5.5 just because of George Costanza. Up next is the Blondie of the week, and it's all about a character named Arbuckle. Yeah, can you see that? Arbuckle. Very important to this week's Sunday Funny review, because it's the second occurrence of an Arbuckle in the week's Sunday Funnies, which has never been done before. Truly, Sean... Oh, what the hell? Look at that last name. Can you even decipher that? That's like alien language, right? And John Marshall are true geniuses of the Sunday Funnies. Speaking of geniuses and Sunday Funnies in one sentence, it's the Dilbert of the week. And it's about meditating. It's like, yeah, you have to sit there and do nothing, yeah? And he's like, "But that's, can I drink coffee at the same time? That's not recommended, yeah?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, I just do the same thing already, but, without coffee? That's kind of weird." And then he's like, "I think you've already been enlightened." He's like, "It feels that way to me." Pretty good. Up next is the Marvin of the week, and, I don't know if you can tell, but the punchline is that the baby looks like Baby Yoda. And this is a pretty grim realization, because that means that this comic was written in, like, November. And that's not good, because he's months behind Tom Armstrong. And if that's the case, 7 months from now, we're going to be getting quarantine jokes. And it's going to be terrible. And, oh, God, I can already see it coming. It's a 0 out of 10 this week. That'll probably be the lowest score ever. It's just, what that means for the Sunday Funnies going forward is disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, it's the Baby Blues of the week. I say that because this little end panel here, I don't think the comic itself is all that bad. But it's just run-of-the-mill. It's 6.5. It's not great. It's the Baby Blues, so they're trying to be wholesome, but they try to add a comedic spin on it, and it just never works. Speaking of trying to be wholesome, it's the High and Lowest this week. But I actually quite like the High and Lowest this week. It's about dog, spelled D-A-W-G. And you know what? It's not bad. I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. And up next is the Sally Forth. Now, funny thing, 1 minute, about this week's Sally Forth is that if you remember back a couple weeks, we had seen the predecessor to this week's Sally Forth. She's growing a garden. And last time I saw it, I was like, it's not good. I don't like it. Because I know what it's going to be. It's going to be, woman never grow garden. She grew garden. So I'm going to retroactively give that last comic a 6.5 out of 10. And I'm going to give this comic a 7 out of 10. Because I haven't seen continuity done in a Sunday Funny. Most of these things are just one-off. So, good on you, Sally Forth writer. Francisco Marciulanio? What? Marciulanio? I don't know, man. Cool name, though, if I were to pronounce it properly. Up next is the Close to Home. A timeless classic, really. It's the one panel. It's everyone's favorite one panel. And it's a simple joke, like it usually is. Since it's a 6-hour ride, I got the deluxe restroom included package. And it's nice, because you got the outhouse on the drawbridge on the air balloon. I'll give that a solid 7 out of 10. And it's the week's Born Loser. And, well, it's a pretty alright comic. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. This week's highest ranked comic is, of course, The Better for Worse. This week's lowest ranked comic is Marvin, mainly because of what it implies. If not for the fact that it's Baby Yoda joke in May, I don't know, I might give it like a 5 out of 10, meaning the lowest joke this week is, of course, going to the Doonesbury, if I were to count it like that, but I'm not going to. I don't like that Marvin this week. It's very scary to me, and what it implies for the Sunday funnies. Anyway, I'd say that's about it. I'm gonna move this over to the pile now. Yep. Look at that. It's in the pile. Yeah. And, well, I'd just like to say thank you for watching. Rate 5 stars. Share on your MySpace page. Like, comment, subscribe. Watch this live on Nowhere. I'm not going to live stream it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week. I'm going to pad it for another 15 seconds so that I can hit 12 minutes. So, how have you been? Good. Glad to hear it. Yep. Alright. Well, au revoir.